I want to thank you all for being here. To our adored First Lady, Dr. Sakina Futrell Carter, I want to thank you for joining us today. More importantly, I want to thank you for being there for me and with me every day as my life partner, my life coach, my co-parent, my wise counsel, and also my best friend. Deputy Mayor thank you. Deputy Mayor Tenscher, members of the City Council here today, our city administration and staff, our state delegation members, all of you joining us today in person or by live stream. Okay. Thank you. Let's just take it down. Let's just take it down. Thank you. To the weather committee who worked so hard, all of our staff members who actually did work hard to make this event possible for us, and certainly to my mom and dad who are here with us as well. Or as some of you know them, Met Council member Tony Carter and retired St. Paul Sergeant Melvin Carter. I want to thank you all for being here with us. And I also want to say thank you to the lovely voices of the Marvella senior community for that beautiful rendition of our national anthem. If you look closely enough in that group, you can find one or two of my former teachers in that choir that we heard from this morning. That was incredible, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your morning to be here with us today. It continues to be the honor of my lifetime to serve as your mayor. Following yet another year of victories and opportunities, I stand before you to present my proposed budget for the year 2024. With the incredible progress we've made as a city, I am more hopeful than ever that the legacy we're building together is certain to provide future generations a safer, more equitable, and more prosperous St. Paul. We gather today, as our council president mentioned, at the center of our new Highland Bridge neighborhood, a location that exemplifies the spirit of progress and transformation that defines our vision for St. Paul. This 122-acre land is undergoing a remarkable transformation, from a vacant Ford assembly plant to a vibrant mixed-use neighborhood infused with vitality, diversity, and eco-sustainability. I remember being a young staff member in then Mayor Coleman's office when we got the news that the Ford plant was going to close. I remember feeling that gut punch that we all felt and wondering, what in the world will we do without that there? It's incredible that here we are today, and every time I'm here, I look around and feel this incredible feeling in my gut that says, what did we always do without this here? I'm thankful for incredible partners like Ryan Companies, Common Bond Communities, Project for Pride in Living, and Habitat for Humanity, who are all working together to deliver a 21st century community here, complete with the affordable housing necessary to ensure that it can be enjoyed by all. I want to express my gratitude to the City Council, City staff, and community partners for their unwavering support and collaboration in this project. Highland Bridge serves as a powerful reminder of what we can achieve when we come together. And that's good news for all of us, especially as we recently broke ground in partnership with the Port Authority, Sherman Associates, J.O. Companies, and Habitat for Humanity on our other 100-plus acre site, The Heights. In particular, I have to commend City Council member Chris Tolbert for his leadership and service to guide this development to where we are today. Councilmember, your friendship, your guidance, your quiet leadership has been key to crafting the future of our city, not only with regards to this site, but in raising the minimum wage, establishing earned sick and safe time, launching our Right Track Youth Jobs Training Program, launching our Full Stack initiative, and most recently, putting us on the road to eliminating the lead service lines that still connect thousands of St. Paul homes to our water mains. Thank you for your service. Each year, the task of producing a proposed budget proves to be one of the most important and difficult aspects of my job as mayor. Our team has spent the past several months calculating inflation impacts, projecting gaps, brainstorming savings opportunities, poring over proposals, and of course, engaging community members in this process. It takes an enormous amount of time and energy to prepare the budget that goes into this address. But that's not what makes this the hardest part of my job. Every year we start this process with a gap to solve, somewhere between $12 and $20 million. The costs to fuel every fire truck, every ambulance, every police car, to heat and light every rec center and library, and yes, to compensate the heroes who cared for our families, businesses, and infrastructure have all risen for the city just as they have for everyone else. Managing these challenges requires creativity and a careful eye for opportunities, like optimal responses to 911 calls and virtual inspections, to create value for our constituents while forging cost-efficient evolutions to our business models. But that's not what makes this job, this budgeting job, the hardest part of my job either. A city of our size faces at least a handful of existential crises at any given time. A national increase in violent crime since the onset of the pandemic. Millions of dollars in deferred maintenance to our streets, parks, and city buildings. Residents experiencing unsheltered homelessness. An ongoing emerald ash borer epidemic, and a rising threat of invasive and expensive cyber attacks against cities are just a few examples of the daily crises we face, each of which rightfully deserves our full focus, attention, and investment. And yet, it is impossible to fully invest, to fully focus on any one of them without neglecting the others. While the pressures of our rapid news cycles constantly pull us to focus on only one issue at a time, our job is to always stay focused on the full portfolio we must steward, reminding ourselves daily that one cannot fully see the trees without seeing the beautifully diverse urban forest that makes up our city, both literally and figuratively. All things considered, the hardest part of this budgeting process is bearing the weight and balance of our investment decisions. We hear often, because it's true, that any increase in taxes is shouldered most heavily by our lowest income residents and smallest neighborhood businesses. But it's easy to forget that those same families, those same businesses also bear the brunt when we disinvest in community services and infrastructure. Finding that balance proves to be our toughest task each year. We are fortunate to have an outstanding team in our Office of Financial Services to help us manage this responsibility. And I want to acknowledge our Office of Financial Services Director, John McCarthy, and our Budget Director, Madeline Mitchell, who is in the room, who have done an enormous amount of work to prepare us. Please give them a round of applause. Yes, stand up. Okay, we'll take it. Thankfully, we had more help than ever in preparing this year's budget. Investments made by our federal government under the leadership of President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and our incredible federal delegation provide us opportunities to make critical investments in our neighbors, our workforce, and our city infrastructure. These game-changing investments, including the American Rescue Plan, Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, and Bipartisan Inflation Reduction Act, combined to form the deepest direct investment in the American people since the New Deal, as our nation continues to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. And right here at home, our Governor, Tim Walz, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and our state legislative leaders, some of whom are here with us today. It's wonderful to see you. Thank you for joining us here today. Have worked together at the Capitol to deliver in historic fashion critical resources to help local communities thrive. For the past 2 decades, we've heard our mayors say the letters LGA more than a handful of times. Local government aid is a state program designed to help communities like ours deliver critical city services and control property taxes. It's no coincidence that since the deep cuts to local government aid in 2003, property taxes across our state have risen sharply. It's no coincidence that this last year, the state legislature fielded a record number of requests from communities of all sizes across our state, including ours, for approvals to increase sales taxes to help fund city government services. This year, after a 20-year lapse, the Walz-Flanagan administration and our incredible St. Paul State Legislative Delegation delivered an $80 million investment to boost LGA statewide, resulting in over $8 million increase for the city of St. Paul. Thank you. The budget I'm proposing today uses these funds for the exact purpose which they were designed to serve, to control property tax increases. My 2024 budget proposes an increase of 3.7%, or $7.4 million, to our city's property tax levy. Because of shifting values to commercial and industrial properties, the impact of this modest increase on a median single-family home would be a property tax decrease of $26. To be clear, without the LGA boost we got from our state leaders, we would have had to increase taxes by 8.2%, more than twice our actual proposed increase, in order to balance this budget. State leaders additionally delivered for St. Paul a $13.6 million allocation in public safety aid and over $120 million in state bonding to help finance critical construction projects like replacing the Kellogg Boulevard Bridge and bringing to life our North End Community Center and River Learning Center in Crosby Farm Regional Park. This funding, this help, helps us address our current needs and the aspirations we hold for tomorrow. We are enormously grateful for what this funding does for local communities like St. Paul. As stewards of our public resources, our responsibility is to never ask taxpayers for more than we need, to never spend more than we have, to seek out smarter, more efficient approaches to meet constituents' needs, and to stay intentional about passing our city to our next generation of leaders in a stronger position than we found it. We take these responsibilities seriously. We've worked hard to add millions to our city's emergency reserves and to manage spending carefully in an era of runaway inflation. And just this week, on the heels of news of a downgrade to our federal government's credit rating, both S&P and Fitch have reaffirmed St. Paul's AAA credit rating, the highest rating possible. Now, some people's eyes glaze over when I start talking about how exciting it is that we had our AAA credit rating reaffirmed, and I'm not just talking about my teenagers. But we have to know, we as a city entity borrow millions of dollars each year to fund the work that we do. And just the same as our own personal budgets, the higher our credit rating is, the lower the percentage rates we pay for that borrowing. Our financial management of this city saves taxpayers millions of dollars. This budget continues our trend of leveraging one-time funding sources for exciting new proposals, while also recommending key general fund investments focused primarily on gun violence prevention and provision of key central services. Notably, my proposal to fundamentally improve the quality of our citywide streets and infrastructure is the sales tax proposal, which will go to voters this fall. Since day one, we have endeavored to build the most coordinated, most comprehensive, and most data-driven approach to public safety that our city has ever endeavored. This effort is driven by our community-first framework, grounded in public engagement, research, and real-time data. We leverage cross-sector collaboration among our police and fire departments, Office of Neighborhood Safety, and parks and libraries, and our city attorney's office to make the greatest collective impact on violence reduction that we can. We are making smart investments in emergency response strategies that enhance our ability to respond faster after something terrible happens, while at the same time investing in community-focused solutions to identify and break neighborhood-level cycles that inevitably results in crime over and over and over again. The strength and efficiency of our first responders is vital to our public safety efforts. While we celebrate the progress we have made, we must remain steadfast in our pursuit of excellence. I'm grateful to Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan for recognizing the need for world-class public safety infrastructure and passing a tax bill that invests heavily in local public safety efforts across the state. With the $13.6 million in one-time public safety aid, we have the opportunity to enhance and expand upon our commitment to the reduction, prevention, and enforcement in relation to violent crime in our city. Between general fund dollars and state aid, we're poised to invest nearly $9 million into our fire and police departments this year. As an all-hazard response agency, our St. Paul Fire Department personnel don't just respond to fires. They are also often the first to arrive at medical emergencies. Our fire department is also the busiest and best fire department in the state. Over the past decade, our fire department has experienced a 64% increase in run volume. Last year, our fire department responded to over 61,000 calls for service and are on pace to exceed 65,000 in 2023. In keeping with our resolve, yes, please. In keeping with our resolve to build cost-efficient business models, Chief Inks and his leadership team have recently launched a peak staffing pilot, complementing our 24-hour staffing model for the first time, with the ability to boost department capacity during times of predictably higher demand. We have also added significant budget and staff capacity, and even installed saunas to combat elevated cancer risks in firefighters. I'm excited that we have 2 fire station projects on the horizon. Our newest fire station, Fire Station 7, will be built on the east side and is slated to break ground this fall with an early 2025 opening. Reconstruction of Fire Station 51 on West 7th is also underway. This station will be safely functioning during the project, which is expected to be complete early next year. Renovation and reoccupation of Station 51 after 13 years of alternate use will grow the number of operational fire stations from 15 to 16, allowing us to strategically place resources to support our downtown public safety needs, entertainment corridor, and respond to the needs of our most vulnerable residents, the unsheltered. This budget proposes building on that momentum by continuing to boost capacity in our BLS, Basic Life Service Response teams. Funding paramedic and EMT training for firefighters, purchasing new self-contained breathing apparatus, and a long overdue upgrade to the fitness equipment available for our firefighters in our stations. As the son of a St. Paul first responder, I am keenly aware of the critical role our firefighters, paramedics, and emergency medical technicians play in protecting our community. I'm proud of the deep investments we've made in our fire department since I took office. And I'm proud of the ceremonial acts at my office door, which was presented to me by leaders of our fire union in recognition of those deep investments. To the firefighters in attendance today, I see you, and I am as eager as you are to resolve your contract. Our city team remains willing to negotiate in good faith, and we look forward to resolving all of these issues in the coming weeks. Just a couple of days ago, our city was thrust into mourning as we awoke to the heartbreaking news that the life of Marquis Jones, a 12-year-old boy, had been stolen by a bullet. While much remains to be learned about the circumstances of Marquis' death, two things are certain. One, it never should have happened. And two, it happens too much. Today, guns, not cancer, not heart failure, not car accidents, guns are the leading cause of death among American children. Please join me in a brief moment of silence for Marquis, for his brother, and the entire Jones family. Thank you. I know that you, like me, are tired of gunfire, tired of moments of silence, tired of never should have happens. I know that you, like me, and fortunately, like our new Chief of Police, Axel Henry, understand that there are no simple solutions, no magic, singular answers to end the complex challenge of gun violence in our community. And I know that you, like me, are unwilling to stop there. We are all in to eliminate gun violence in our community. In the past year alone, we have worked together with Attorney General Keith Ellison to hold accountable gun stores who sell with impunity to straw buyers. We have worked with our city council to pass a safe storage ordinance which requires firearms to be locked and unloaded to help prevent access by unauthorized users. And we launched Project Peace, led by our Office of Neighborhood Safety in partnership with our police department and city attorney's office, focused on deterring gun violence in our community through prevention, environmental design, accountability, community action, and enforcement. Our work is making a difference. Compared to 2022, shots fired calls this year are down 40%. Crimes involving a firearm are down 36%, and non-fatal gunshot wounds are down 38%. And our police department's homicide unit continues to outpace national averages with a 100% clearance rate for homicide cases. But arresting people after they commit a crime isn't good enough. I almost daily hear Chief Henry equate making an arrest after a crime has occurred to winning a bronze medal. The gold standard, stop me if I'm wrong, Chief. The gold standard, he probably won't stop me. The gold standard is preventing the crime from happening in the first place, such that no arrest is ever necessary. My public safety team has worked together and in close partnership with Ramsey County Attorney John Choi to leverage state public safety aid with an intensive 3-year, $7.5 million plan to double down on our progress to further reduce gun violence in our city. Over this 3-year commitment, we will focus on these key areas of prevention, intervention, and response. This solutions-based approach will be methodical and built on the strengths of collaboration among our local partners. This initiative will be interwoven into the resources and programs within our Office of Neighborhood Safety and City Attorney's Office, which have already proven effective, enhancing our ability to wrap our arms around our communities when they are in crisis. And we will equip our police department with the resources they need so that we can bring the same level of presence and attention toward investigating and holding accountable those responsible for non-fatal shootings in our city, just as we do for fatal shootings. We will demonstrate to anyone and everyone who needs to know it that our beloved community here is a fantastic place to find opportunity and the wrong place to fire a gun. The foundation of my 2024 budget proposal is a commitment to working on the business of city government so that our city government leaders can continue to have the resources, the support that they need to serve our St. Paul residents. We've embarked on a simple vision to transform a dozen distinct city departments into one citywide enterprise. There's no better example of this phenomenon than the historic snowfalls we experienced this past winter. For years, our city's Department of Public Works has struggled with where to put all those cars in a snow emergency so we can plow the streets. As an individual department, there is no viable solution. But as part of a citywide enterprise, Public Works is in surprisingly close proximity to the ramps our Housing and Redevelopment Authority owns downtown, as well as the lots in front of every rec center and library across our city. This year, we added a significant amount of value and got the snow plowed better without spending a single cent, thanks to our enterprise thinking. Thank you, Public Works Director Sean Kershaw, for leading that effort. As we engaged our cabinet around the investments that can most unlock our ability to operate as an enterprise, our mostly internal-facing central services departments quickly came into light. All of the jobs we rely upon the city to perform require functions like human resources professionals to train staff and fill vacancies. Okay. Thank you, Deputy. I won't let it hit you. Thank you. I'll keep catching them. All of the functions we rely upon the city to perform require functions like human resources professionals to train staff and fill vacancies, financial services staff to analyze budgets, manage grants, and process payments, and 21st century digital infrastructure to support employees and increase constituent access to critical city services. The budget I'm submitting to you today proposes investments in each of these areas totaling more than $1.7 million. With those investments, we'll boost our ability to fill vacant job vacancies, we'll boost our ability to recruit St. Paul City residents for St. Paul City jobs, and we'll boost our ability to leverage all of the outside funding opportunities that exist within the state, federal, and philanthropic levels. Two decades ago, city leaders under the banner of no new taxes kept our property tax levy flat for 12 years straight. Some of us cheered, while others worried about the short-sightedness of that approach. No family or business can thrive without increasing their financial capacity for over a decade, and a city can't either. Today, we feel the impacts of that disinvestment every time we walk or ride down the street, every time we visit a city building, every time we step into a city park. While a newly constructed street has a 60-year expected lifespan, We inherited our streets on a 124-year replacement cycle when I came into office. As I've shared before, the last time Summit Avenue was fully reconstructed, William Howard Taft was President of the United States. That doesn't work. And because I've had a number of people ask me just how long ago that actually was, Taft's first and only term as president began in 1909, 114 years ago. This year's budget proposal is all about building opportunity. And now is our city's time to invest in our future and provide the next generation with long-term solutions that lay the foundation for more equitable outcomes. As a community, now is the time for us to have thoughtful and candid conversations about the state of our infrastructure and decide how we move forward together. At the core of this vision is our local option sales tax proposal, which we will all decide together on the ballot this November. Not only does this proposal present our only viable option to date to proactively fund the improvements our streets and parks so urgently demand, it uniquely invites thousands of non-resident users of our streets and parks to contribute to their upkeep. While our sales tax proposal will not fund police, fire, recreation, or library operations, let's be clear, not passing this proposal will severely strain the resources available for all of our city functions in the coming years. Make no mistake, whether we like it or not, whether we plan for it or not, whether we budget for it or not, we will have no choice but to spend hundreds of millions of dollars improving our streets and park spaces in the very near future. I look forward to our big citywide conversation this fall about how passing our sales tax proposal is the key to meeting those obligations while continuing to build toward the big future that lies ahead for St. Paul. At the core of our shared vision for St. Paul lies a deep understanding of our city, not just as a collection of streets and bridges, but as a family, an interconnected group of people who know that caring for each other is caring for ourselves. Through some of the toughest years in our city's history, I'm proud that we never stop working together to find new and creative ways to care for one another. We have launched our nation-leading guaranteed income pilots to directly invest unconditional cash to help low-income families with young children achieve their full potential. We've launched College Bound St. Paul, starting every child born in our city with $50 in a college savings account, planting their first seed of opportunity to realize the dream of post-secondary education. And our Inheritance Fund provides descendants of Old Rondo, whose homes were uprooted to build I-94, opportunity to reclaim lost value through fully forgivable loans designed to facilitate wealth creation through home ownership. Just a year ago, that felt like a big, bold, moonshot proposal. Today, it's a reality. Not just for our broader community, but for people like Anthony Bradford, our very first Inheritance Fund homebuyer, who is here with us today. Please stand, Anthony. Thank you so much. These bold new approaches, all of which we once believed to be beyond the scope of City Hall, are expanding our mental framework for how local government can be directly relevant in helping our neighborhoods find economic freedom and self-sustainability. We're going to keep doing that. Last year, I proposed leveraging American Rescue Plan funding to eliminate participation fees for youth sports. That policy received an overwhelming response, both from families who came flocking back to our recreation centers and from local and national media who lauded the instant success of our simple value proposition. This year, I'm proposing to build on that momentum with a $250,000 investment to support free swimming in city-owned swimming pools. This proposal will include swim lessons for 2,500 youth, ages 10 and under, and a water safety education curriculum to foster a culture of safety and empowerment in the water. And I'm excited to see how we leverage the citywide jewel that is our swimming pools to give more of our young people access to the year-round, lifelong sport that is swimming. You may have noticed some folks over here clapping particularly loud at that part, and I have to acknowledge our pool's crew who is here, who's led by our heroic leader, David. Thank you so much for your leadership. I expect this proposal to have the same impact on our pools that eliminating participation fees had on our rec centers last year. Finally, 5 years ago, we realized that late fines were keeping people away from our public libraries. We forgave and eliminated library late fines and switched to a fine-free library system. As a result of that policy, we immediately experienced double-digit growth in library use for all of our lowest income neighborhoods. That policy has been a smashing success by all counts. And I want to thank you, our new Library Director, Maureen Hartman, for continuing to lead our library system in a way that is relevant not just to our residents, but to our nation and to our planet. Thank you for your leadership. You know, I spent the last several weeks learning about another type of debt that operates dangerously within a similar type of dynamic as library debt used to in our city. Every day, 1 in 2 Americans have to choose between paying medical bills or covering basic needs. Every day, 2 out of 3 bankruptcies in our country cite medical debt as a leading cause. And nearly 50% of adults in our country have delayed or skipped medical care at some time in their lives due to the cost of it. We are joined today, please stand, by representatives from Allina Health, Children's Minnesota, Fairview Health Services, and Health Partners. We all agree, thank you. Well, stay standing while I tell them what we're doing together. We all agree, especially in our post-pandemic reality, that the idea of medical debt acting as a barrier that keeps our neighbors from accessing health care is simply a non-starter. So we have all worked together to build our medical debt reset initiative, a public-private partnership to be administered by a national organization called RIP Medical Debt. Where's our representative from RIP Medical Debt? Which has already purchased and forgiven over $9 billion in medical debt nationwide over the past decade. RIP Medical Debt, please remain standing too. You're doing this work with us. You're doing this work for us. RIP Medical Debt estimates that St. Paul residents in households that earn less than 400% of federal poverty guidelines, or whose debt equals 5% or more of their annual income, likely hold just over $100 million in outstanding medical debt. Leveraging RIP Medical Debt's proven 100-to-1 payoff model, I am proposing a one-time $1 million investment of American Rescue Plan funds to purchase and completely eliminate all of it. Patients in our city will be free from an economic stressor and thus be more able to afford basic necessities and feel comfortable seeking healthcare services. Our healthcare systems will benefit from moving uncollectible debts off their books, ultimately improving their ability to assist low-income patients, and our entire community will benefit from addressing a major social determinant of health, enhancing health equity, addressing the economic and health impacts of the pandemic, and addressing the impact of inflation and housing costs over the past few years. This program is not just about wiping away debts. It's about giving people a chance to breathe, to rebuild, and to reclaim their lives without the weight of medical bills crushing their aspirations. Please give one more round of applause for the partners who are making this work happen. Thank you. This proposal calls the question on our philosophy of who we are as a city. See, I would grant, if we were a city of streets and bridges and buildings that people just happened to reside within, that this could be a controversial proposal. But if we are a family, if we are a group of people whose fates are interconnected, if we've learned anything from the pandemic that we've been through these past couple of years, then this simple proposal to leverage $1 million toward eliminating $100 million in debt is a no-brainer. To be clear, our medical debt reset initiative is a point-in-time initiative. We still have work to do together with insurance providers and legislatures and our health systems all working together to ensure equitable access to health services for every member of our community. I would be remiss to miss the opportunity to mention that this work starts with reminding our relatives, friends, and neighbors on Medicaid to be sure to re-enroll this year so they don't lose their health care coverage as our state is required to resume benefit renewal requirements that were suspended during the COVID-19 emergency. As I close this year's budget address, I do so with great pride, knowing that each and every day we give our full effort toward building a city that works for all of us. We've made it our mission to reframe our thinking of what local government can be and how we can be relevant in our residents' lives. This shift in perspective has led us toward greater opportunity, unprecedented investments, and groundbreaking innovations, all in service to one another. I'm excited about what the future has in store for us. As always, this address is neither the beginning nor the end of our budget process, but a midpoint. As always, our City Council will spend the next several months poring over and holding public hearings to discuss every penny proposed in this budget. As always, the final budget we adopt in December will be an evolution of this proposal, responsive to new ideas, changing ground truths, and public feedback. Finally, as always, the funds we discuss in this process do not belong to the mayor's office. They don't belong to the city council or to any city department or leader. These funds belong to all of us. So putting them to their best use is a job that we can only do together. I look forward to the process. Thank you for being here today.